On the line right now at 8:17 is the chairman of the Select Committee on Benghazi, Chairman Trey Gowdy, Republican from South Carolina. Congressman, thank you very much for being with us here on this busy news day.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right. Last night on the Fox News channel, for example, there was an interview with a guy. It was done in silhouette. His voice was altered to protect his identity. And he said, look, I was basically in a plane on the ground at Aviano. I was prepared to respond, and we were waiting on a phone call. Take a listen.
I definitely believe that our aircraft could have taken off and got there in a timely manner, maybe 3 hours at the most, in order to basically at least stop that second mortar attack and have those guys running for the hills and basically save lives that day.
Yeah, all right. So that's pretty impressive information there. You have said that you're not getting the complete story from the Pentagon, and you want to talk to people like perhaps this young airman.
Well, you have to. If you're going to run a serious investigation, and contrast executive branch investigations, which are either done by the Bureau or even your local sheriff's department, there is access to witnesses, there's access to documents. If you want to tell the American people and the families of the four who were killed the full story, then you have to access all witnesses. And the most effective tool we have in terms of bringing out the truth is both direct and cross-examination. So I would tell these witnesses and anyone else that you come forward, you will be treated fairly. There's not a single witness of the almost 100 we've interviewed. Even Cheryl Mills said she was treated professionally and respectfully. You're going to be treated fairly, but you have the information, and we need the information. So come forward. You're not going to be retaliated against. But if I don't know your identity and I can't question you and then listen as you are questioned by others, then it doesn't do the families of the four any good.
I see a story here that says you have concerns that the Department of Defense has not provided completely accurate information. What do you mean by that?
Well, the last letter they wrote me should be considered for the Nobel Prize for fiction. I mean, it was stunningly disrespectful to the women and men who serve in uniform. This political appointee who wrote us a letter, here's what's going on. Other committees of Congress conducted their own investigations. We're doing it differently. We want to talk to everybody. I don't want to just talk to the generals and the admirals. I want to talk to the people who are actually on the receiving end of the orders, and we have. And what we found is we are learning new information that no other committee of Congress learned, which is exactly what we were asked to do. But I don't want 80% of the story. Right. I don't want 90% of the story. I want to talk to every single witness who may have access to relevant, probative information.
Now, you're having trouble getting responses from the people who are on the receiving end of the orders, but do we even know who was giving the orders that night? It wasn't Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta, based on what he said in interviews, my understanding is. Was it the Secretary of State? We're told that it was the State Department who put a kibosh on any sort of intervention, or was it the Commander-in-Chief? Who was in charge?
Well, the State Department is not in the chain of command. Perhaps I missed that day of civics class when I was in school, but the chain of command, as I understand it, is President of the United States to the Secretary of Defense, and then that order goes out to his command staff. Now, this is where it's interesting. We know what the President said to Secretary Panetta, and Secretary Panetta was incredibly clear to our committee, because I did that questioning myself, just to remove any ambiguities, incredibly clear about what he said. So what we need to find out is, okay, what did you say? What did the others hear? And most importantly, we need to understand the time it took from your order to the reception of the order to the action on the order. But unless somebody knows something I don't know, the State Department is not in our military chain of command.
Yeah. But according to one of these people in the Fox News interview yesterday, he's seen emails that say the State Department stepped in. Whether that's appropriate or not, is certainly
and that's where it gets. Yeah. That's why you need to talk to every single witness, because it may very well be that there were conferences with DOD, State Department, National Security Agency. There may have been all of those conversations. And if an entity other than DOD weighed in on our military response, then the public needs to know that.
All right. So when you hear this young man say to Fox News in a silhouette, voice-altered way so they can protect his identity, that we could have done something to save lives on the ground in Benghazi. Just from an emotional standpoint, how does that make you feel that there was somebody there ready to go, and the guy says, we never got the call?
Well, this entire 2-year odyssey has been emotional. I mean, talking to the survivors, talking to the family members of Sean Smith and Glenn Doherty and Ty Woods on a regular basis. The book authors, the 3 that are public and the 2 that are not. Every part of what the folks in Tripoli and Benghazi did is heroic, and it is something that we as fellow Americans should laud and be incredibly proud of.
Yeah.
The very least we can do for them is explain to them what was in transit, or if it wasn't in transit, why was it not in transit? I think the memories of those 4 fallen Americans will settle for the truth. We can't change what happened, but the least we can do is honor them with the truth about how it happened, why it happened, who made decisions, who didn't make decisions. And I was in South Carolina that night, so the only way I know what was happening in Washington or in European Command or AFRICOM or in Libya is to talk to actual witnesses.
Yep.
I don't want to talk to think tank people. I don't want to talk to policy advisors. I want to talk to the people who made the decisions or who could have made the decisions but believe that they were not asked to.
One last question on this, Congressman Trey Gowdy, and I appreciate you giving us time. We've been covering this story since that morning, so we've got so many questions. Hillary Clinton, in her testimony to your committee, said that she checked with the military to see if they could get there in time. Now, this always puzzled me because what does that mean in time? It went on for over 7 hours, and nobody knows when the beginning, middle, and end of a battle is. So do we have any idea what she meant by that?
I have no clue. It has never made sense to me. When you don't know when something's going to end, you have no idea whether you can get there in time or not.
Right.
Now, what she may have meant was we thought after the initial attack it was over. All right, okay. If that's what you thought, you wound up being wrong, but that's what you need to say.
Right.
Is we thought the initial attack was over, our folks have been evacuated, but the notion that we couldn't have gotten there in time, you have no idea how long it was going to last, and it wound up lasting a whole lot longer than anybody thought it would.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Trey Gowdy, for the good work you're doing.
Congressman, thank you so much for joining us, and please come back again.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
8:20.